trading junkies, welcome to EminiJunkie.com, your ES Trading Mentor's free trading video for Tuesday, May 18th, 2010. Today we had a total of 14 executable trade signals for a max potential of 49 ES ticks. This video is for educational purposes only, is intended to highlight our high probability trade setups and give you a feel for the quantity of trades taken each trading day using this approach. A full trading plan and daily live trading room can be accessed via our website at EminiJunkie.com. Okay, we were trading higher this morning, and we had the news announcement that came out around 8:30 and continued to push the market higher. We opened up right around 11:44. Kind of traded sideways to a little higher this morning. We actually made new highs and went past our overnight session highs, and it wasn't until about 10 o'clock, the 10 o'clock reversal time, we crossed back down through our moving average, down through our open, pulled back to that open, gave us a signal to get short, and that produced targets 1 and targets 2 to the downside for 7 ticks as the market continued to trade down and retest the previous day's highs. You can see when we touched the previous day's high there, we got a very fast move to the upside, and that gave us an opportunity to get into this trade. We actually got a long, and that produced targets 1 and targets 2 for a small little bite of 6 ticks there. Again, the market traded right up to those overnight session highs, found resistance there, pushed back down to our moving average, eventually broke down through that moving average, gave us a signal short, and that short signal did produce targets 1 and targets 2 to the downside for 7 ticks as we broke below the previous day's highs. You can see once we did that, we kind of traded sideways there for a bit, and then we had another thrust to the downside, and the market continued to fall off. Now there obviously is an opportunity to trail trades, but we're going to go ahead and just take our profits at our predetermined targets. Once we found a temporary bottom at 11:33, we started climbing higher, and we actually got a signal to get long, and that produced our first target. No follow through at that particular juncture. Ended up getting stopped out down here for a 2-tick loss in that trade, and the market basically consolidated sideways and then continued its upward ways. Now, we didn't get a valid setup to the downside, but we did form another signal long, and unfortunately for us, again, we got our first contract off, and the market went up to those swing high points, but we didn't make new highs, never eventually got our full target off before ultimately being stopped out down here. We run a very tight stop, so we didn't we didn't get stopped out until later on into the lunchtime. We did make new highs, but our target was right up here at the previous day's high, and we didn't get up there. Ultimately got stopped out when the market came back down through here. And no more signals in the morning session there. Now, between 11:30 and 1:15, we choose not to take any new signals, and that's because volume lets up a little bit, volatility tends to increase. Now, you might miss a few good trades here, but that's okay. The risk reward is just not worth it, at least in our opinion. So we do not do anything until after the lunchtime dead zone was over. And as you can see, during lunchtime, the market continued to trade to the downside, eventually made its way down to the pivot before finding any type of support. Now, after the lunchtime was over, the market at 1:15, again, that's when we start taking opportunities. Now, we actually had a signal here, and we were able, luckily, get our first contract off on this candle just by 1 tick, just barely made it, but no follow through. Ended up getting stopped out on that trade to the downside, only to see it go higher. You know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Now, as soon as we got stopped out of that trade, we actually got a signal to get short, and we were run over like a freight train on that one. That was a full stop out, 14-tick loss, but so many times coming out of those stop outs, the very next signal is a good one, of course, because the stop out tells you that you were wrong. So we actually had a signal to get long, and those are the hardest signals to take, the ones right after a stop out. But you know, with our trading plan, you have to take the signals, and it did produce targets 1 and targets 2 to the upside for 9 ticks. Now, found a temporary high there at 11:31.25, and then the resistance pushed us back down through our moving average. Actually, a very fast move gave us an extension entry to the downside, and that extension ended up panning out for us, because that extension gave us an opportunity to get T1 and T2 to the downside for 12 ticks. Again, there was a market rotation here, gave us a reset. We did not get a signal to go long. That has to do with the price action in our moving average, but we did get a new fresh signal on that quick move down through the moving average. Gave us an opportunity to get short right here, and that produced targets 1 and targets 2 to the downside on a little micro swing basis there for 6 ticks. Found temporary support around the 2 o'clock reversal time, started trading higher, gave us an opportunity eventually to get long over here around 208, and that did produce targets 1 and targets 2 to the upside for 10 ticks as we started moving back up towards our daily pivot. That pivot was front run, the market was rejected to the downside, pulled back to our moving average, gave us a signal to get short. That produced targets 1 and targets 2 to the downside for 10 ticks on that particular trade, and then the market continued to sell off. Now, our 2:30 reversal time came and went. The market had some momentum, kept pushing down. It was about 2:45 before it found enough support to take us up through our moving average. A little micro swing there once again, targets 1 and targets 2 to the upside for 6 ticks, and then we got a fresh signal short. We got our first contract off, ended up getting stopped out to the tick right here, only to see the trade eventually move down and work for what would have been a full T2 target. But like I said, we run tight stops, and we do that for a reason. And then we quit trading at 3 o'clock. We just stay away from the shark tank that happens there in the last hour of the day. So all in all, it was a very, very active day, but we had a very nice market, very technical market played into our hands. 14 trades today for 49 ES ticks. I want to thank you for watching. For more details on this plan, including all the chart setups, or to join our live trading room and video newsletter, please visit EminiJunkie.com or simply click the link at the top of this screen. Thanks, and make it a great day.